Kathy Manning's congressional career got off to what she calls an interesting start.
I was sworn in January 3rd at the height of the pandemic. 3 days later, I was in the House gallery when the insurrection broke out. So I was in the last group that was taken to safety.
Despite that, Manning is proud of what the 117th Congress was able to accomplish.
We've passed more legislation and gotten it signed into law than any Congress I can think of since the 1960s.
So are you happy with the direction of the country?
I would like to see us figure out how we can get beyond this bitter partisan divide and agree on the things we need to do to help the country move forward.
And where's the biggest disagreement?
Well, I think our democracy is at risk. I think voter protection is at risk. And frankly, I think a woman's right to control her own reproductive freedom is at risk.
Manning is referring to the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, sending the issue of abortion rights back to the 50 states. But Manning wants to see a federal standard on abortion access. Do you think there should be any restrictions, though?
I would go with Roe v. Wade set the standard at viability, and I think that that's an appropriate standard.
But inflation and the economy remain the overriding factor in this year's elections, and nothing affects that more than energy. Manning appears ready to step out of line with many in her party, including the president, who were openly hostile to the oil and gas industries during the 2020 campaign.
I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel, and I am not going to cooperate with it, okay?
But bringing down energy prices requires American energy production. No one's going to invest the money it takes to do this if they feel this administration wants them out of business.
I think that's a big issue, and that's why I think we need to have the right conversations and create the right strategy that will allow us to fill our energy needs today and beyond.
Manning sees health care costs as another prime issue and says she's proud of her vote to allow the government to negotiate drug prices for Medicaid and Medicare, though critics say the pharmaceutical companies will simply move those costs to patients in the private sector.
We have to keep working at making health care more affordable and more accessible. We do want the innovation. We have the most innovative drug system in the world, drug production system in the world, but it doesn't help to have great innovative drugs if people can't afford them.
College has also become unaffordable to some, so President Biden announced he plans to try to forgive as much as $20,000 of loan debt to millions of people.
People can finally crawl out from under that mountain of debt to get on top of their rent and their utilities.
But much of that debt forgiveness goes to people who are getting advanced degrees and are set up to make six-figure salaries soon after they graduate. What do you want to say to people who feel like the student loan forgiveness is both unwise and unfair?
My biggest concern about what has been done is that it doesn't address the underlying problem, which is how expensive college education has become. I would like to find out exactly why has the cost of college gone so high.
Bob Buckley, Fox 8 News.
Manning won her first race 2 years ago with more than 60% of the vote.